Asking questions in English is very important. In today's lesson, we're going to add one word to your question to make you sound more like a native speaker. Let's go. In today's lesson, we are going to practice making questions. Questions are very important in English. We always ask questions because it is a way to make our conversations longer. If we didn't ask questions, then there would just be silence and the conversation would end. So it's very important that we practice making questions. In today's lesson, we are going to add one word, only one word that will make your question sound more fluent and more like a native speaker, right? So that one word we are going to add is usually. Usually is such a useful word to add to our questions. In today's lesson, we are going to practice making questions about routines, about everyday actions. So for this type of question, it is so useful to add the word usually. Right? So let's look at an example. Let's look at a common question. What time do you eat lunch? What time do you eat lunch? This is a very, very common question. It's a very good question. The grammar is perfect. If you asked me that question, my answer would be, I eat lunch at 12. But if we add one word, if we add usually to this question, the question becomes better. The question becomes more like a native speaker. So, a better question would be, what time do you usually eat lunch? What time do you usually eat lunch? So, why? Why is it better? Why should I use usually? Now, most people, if we are talking about an everyday action, something we do every day, now most people don't do the action at the same time, or we don't do it, frequently or often or always. For example, when I eat lunch, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, I eat lunch at 12. But Thursday, I eat lunch at 12:30. Saturday and Sunday, I eat lunch at 12 or 1. So it's always different, but most common is 12 o'clock. So if I say usually, there is more flexibility. So I don't have to give one time for the whole action. I can be flexible. I can give you an answer that's more what I commonly do, what I frequently do, not what I always do. So it's a very flexible word for the listener. So if you ask me, what time do you usually eat lunch? Then it becomes easier for me to answer. So I usually eat at 12:30. Native speakers know that we don't always do the same thing every day, or we don't do the same action at the same time. So we like to add the word usually to make more flexibility. So next, how do we use usually in the question? It's quite simple. Today we will practice WH questions. So we are going to have the phrase WH, and then next we're going to have the verb do. Now, if I use the verb do, my subject will be you, we, or they. Now, after the subject, we will use the word usually. Then, after usually, we use the verb. So, very easy thing to remember is usually always comes before the verb. So, usually plus verb. So, if we look at the past example, what time do you usually eat lunch? So, usually and then eat. Eat is my verb. So, usually eat. Now, if my subject is not you or we or they, if the subject is he or she, then we change the sentence a little bit. In this situation, my question is the WH word does plus he, she, or it plus usually, and then the main verb. So, example question would be, what time does he usually eat lunch? What time does he usually eat lunch? In both of these examples, I used the question, what time? Now, we don't only use what time. We can use any WH word. So let's review the WH words. So we have what time, we have what, we have when, we have where, we have why, we have who, and then we can expand to how often, or how many, how much. Okay, so all of these are question words. So we can use all of these in our questions. And we can add the word usually. Let's look at one more example. So let's talk about breakfast. And let's talk about eat. So most people eat breakfast. So maybe it's cereal, maybe it's toast, maybe it's rice, maybe it's pancakes. I don't know. What? Here I want to know what. So my question word becomes what. What? So if we follow the pattern, and let's say the subject is you. So what do you usually eat for breakfast? One more time. What do you usually eat for breakfast? So I'm asking everybody who's watching now, what do you usually eat for breakfast? Me, what do I usually eat for breakfast? I usually have a piece of toast and a latte. So tell me, what do you usually eat for breakfast? Leave your answers down in the comment section. Okay, let's go to the first activity of this lesson. Next, we are going to do a jumbled word activity. A jumbled word activity. I am going to put some questions on the screen, but the order of the words is incorrect. All of the words are jumbled up. So I want you to look at the words and put them in the correct order and make a question. Okay, number one. Let's do number one together. That way you understand how to do it. So number one, please look at the screen. The words are, what time, lunch, you do eat usually. All right, so these words are not in the correct order. They are jumbled up. Now, if we remember the pattern, the correct pattern is WH, do, you, usually plus verb. So if we follow this pattern, what is your answer? Okay, so if we follow that pattern, the correct question is, what time do you usually eat lunch? Okay, so now that you understand how to do this, the next 4 will be your chance. I am not going to help. So number 2, please look at the screen and tell me your answer. Here, number 2, the question is, what time does he usually wake up? What time does he usually wake up? All right, number 3, please look at the screen and unjumble these words to make a correct question. Okay, here, the correct question is, who do you usually eat dinner with? Who do you usually eat dinner with? Number 4, please look at the screen and make the correct question. All right, my question here is, how often do you usually brush your teeth? How often do you usually brush your teeth? And last one, number 5. Please look at the screen and make the correct question. All right, here the correct question is, where does she usually go shopping? Where does she usually go shopping? Okay, so how did you do? Were you able to make all of these correct questions? All of the words were jumbled, so I hope you did a good job. I hope you were able to follow the patterns and make some good questions. Now, this is also a great chance for me to ask you, if you like this lesson so far, please subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and hit the notification bell. Okay, now that you understand how to make the questions, let's move to the active part, the speaking part of this lesson. In this part, what we're going to do is we are going to make questions, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I'm not going to give you all of the words. I am going to give you maybe 2 words. I will not give you the verb. You have to look at the words and make a question. And don't forget, please put usually, our secret word, please put it into the question. Okay, number 1. Please look at the information on the screen. Use this information and make a WH question, and please add usually. For this question, the subject is you. You. Okay, so for me, my question in this situation is, what time do you usually go to bed? What time do you usually go to bed? If you have a different answer, that's okay. It might be correct. Just leave your question down below and I will check it. Number 2, please look at the information, use that information, and make a question. Again, the subject will be you. Okay, my answer in this situation is: when do you usually take a shower or bath? When do you usually take a shower or bath? All right, again, if you have a different answer, leave it down below. Number 3, please look at the information and tell me your question. The subject will be you. Okay, my question is: what do you usually eat for breakfast? What do you usually eat for breakfast? Number 4, please look at the information and make a question. The subject will be you. Okay, my answer is: what time do you usually have dinner? What time do you usually have dinner? Okay, number 5. Number 5, please look at the information. This time, make the subject she. Okay, the subject will be she. Okay, my question here is: what does she usually do in the evenings? What does she usually do in the evenings? Okay, so if you had, again, different questions, that's okay. Please leave your questions down below. You might have used a different verb. That's okay. There are many, many choices, many options, many answers. So don't feel worried. Just leave your answers down below. Also, if you have any questions about this lesson, ask them down below. I will definitely answer all of your questions. And if you like this channel, if you like this video, if you liked this lesson, make sure you subscribe. And don't forget, give me a thumbs up and hit the notification bell. I'm always posting videos, so make sure you watch out and watch all of those lessons as well. So until the next time, see ya. Thank you very much for watching today's lesson. Today's lesson was on the word usually. Cut. Thank you very much for watching today's lesson. Today we practice how to make your questions sound more like a native speaker. By adding the word usually, you will sound more fluent. If you liked this lesson, if you thought it was useful, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and hit the notification bell. So until the next lesson, see ya.